I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
Can you imagine even uttering those words? Even just thinking that, having that thought go through your head is bad enough. But to have it make it all the way down to your lips and to have your mouth move in the way to make the words come out to actually say it in front of a camera is so disgusting. Let's get into this interview with Hunter Biden in Channel 5's Andrew Callaghan. Again, we played a clip from this on yesterday's show. We're not going to go through the whole thing. Again, this is an hour more on top of the 2 hours I think he sat down with him. So this is like a two-parter. But this is just the cold opening here, the beginning, titled Epstein, Power, and Trump. I think it's about 2.5 minutes long. So let you say if we could possibly get into Hunter Biden's thoughts on the Epstein, Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell saga that continues to rage in the media right now. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This is Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. This is a political podcast made for you people, by you people, to call out the bullshit of the Republican Party, Donald Trump, the mainstream media, and to break it down for normal, everyday citizens that make this country run like you and like me, because that's who's affected by these policies. All right, let's get into it. Hunter Biden with Andrew Callaghan from Channel 5. What does Hunter Biden think of Jeffrey Epstein and the situation that is ongoing with Donald Trump? Let's get into it.
Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile that it came into enormous wealth by very mysterious circumstances and had connections across the globe to very, very powerful people. And he was murdered right before it was all about to blow up. And now there supposedly are no files that the American people can see to explain all of that.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
Can you fucking imagine that? Can you fucking imagine that? One more time from the top. Donald Trump, take that away. What are we on? Can you imagine even uttering those words? Even just thinking that, having that thought go through your fucking head is bad enough. But to have it make it all the way down to your lips and to have your fucking mouth move in the way to make the words come out to actually say it in front of a camera is so fucking disgusting. Listen to this shit.
To blow up. And now there supposedly are no files that the American people can see to explain all of that.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
I mean, it's crazy.
I don't know why the Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring. And just in case you woke up fucking yesterday or just crawled out from whatever fucking rock you've been hiding under for the last fucking 25, 30 years, this is the President of the United States talking about the world's largest sex trafficking ring involving children, young girls, pedophilia, with the most widespread, wide-ranging clientele list with some of the most high-profile individuals on the fucking planet. Talking about the man that was, ostensibly in charge of this whole thing, had a fishy, we'll call suicide, that nobody believes was an actual suicide under Donald Trump's watch. Donald Trump, being the man who was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for over 25 years, knew about his criminalities, knew that he was poaching underage girls from the spa at Mar-a-Lago, did nothing about it, allowed it to happen until he came and was fucking, berated by multiple employees at Mar-a-Lago because of what he was allowed to happen. Did he finally say he had to take action? But 2 years after he said he took action after this, he then went on to praise Jeffrey Epstein and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, calling him a terrific guy, saying how they both like beautiful women, both like him on the young side. Jeffrey probably a little on the younger side. We know Donald Trump talked about his deal with Ivanka, she had to make a deal with him that he wouldn't date anyone under the age of 17. All the other stuff that we know. You know what I mean? And Donald Trump, who is now president, who is now engaged in the world's biggest fucking government conspiracy, the biggest cover-up in the history of the United States government, in order to protect him and his high-profile buddies from the criminality, from the justice, from the accountability that they need to fucking face for their past actions, for their past crimes, for their past abuses. And he's trying to tell you that that's nothing to see here. Nobody should be interested. It's boring shit. Apparently, the Republican Party doesn't give a fuck about children then. Apparently, the Republican Party doesn't give a fuck about child sex trafficking or pedophilia. Clearly, they don't give a fuck about it then. That's what that tells me.
Do I think that there's an actual list? No, I don't think that there's an actual list. I don't think that he was that stupid. But do I think that what they do have implicates him? Yeah, I think so. You know, I mean, Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are like so wide and deep.
The facts on top of facts, right? I mean, the connections, and we've talked about this, the layers to this cake, the layers to this story just are so fucking tightly packed and so thick. Like, you could pick any one of these pages and Trump's name's going to be on it. You could give some sort of example or evidence to suggest Donald Trump either, self-incriminating himself as it pertains to, actions with underage girls, whether it be in interviews, whether it be just him on stage, as we saw in 2006, talking about the underage girl that he wanted to hire and gave an interview, even though his team said, no, she has no experience. And hey, by the way, she's underage. But because Donald Trump found her to be so attractive and so beautiful, he hired her on the spot. He did that himself. Nobody asked him that question. Nobody told him to tell that story. He did it himself. So the layers to this, Donald Trump's involvement, Donald Trump's criminalities, the cover-up, the conspiracy, the defense, the obfuscations are just fucking so deep and obvious at this point that there's no way, and I've been saying there's no way this goes away at this point. This does not go away. This only gets worse for Donald Trump, which means it continues to get better and better for us here at Blunt Politics, here in the progressive fucking left. Because again, it's not going away. It's only going to blow up again with Democrats doing what they can inside Congress to get whatever files they can possibly get their hands on. Again, I don't give a fuck who's listed in the files. I don't care where we have to start as far as where in this fucking case we start getting files from. The ones that we haven't seen thus far. But let's fucking start somewhere. I'll take whatever we can get our hands on at this point, and that will open the fucking floodgates. So let's fucking open those floodgates, and let's pry those fucking cracks that have been formed in the MAGA base open as far as we could possibly get them, right? And just fucking piss down those cracks, right? Fucking take a dump right in those cracks. All right, sorry. Carried away. All right, let's continue.
Anyway, why do we think they don't want the files released? I don't know. I think John, that thing that John Heilman says is like a long time ago, I think is the most accurate kind of assessment of them, which is everything is projection or confession. Everything. So when he puts out that tweet and he says, Epstein now is the Russia hoax or the Hunter Biden laptop.
The laptop from hell, which the Democrats swore came from Russia.
Must be so weird for Hunter Biden himself to be talking about the Hunter Biden laptop, like knowing it doesn't exist himself, but having to talk about that as like an actual conspiracy theory must be so fucking weird for him.
It came from Hunter Biden's bathroom.
Like, I wonder if it works. Do you know what I mean? When he says to his followers, like, you're no supporter of mine if you keep talking about Epstein.
Yeah. What do you think was in the files?
I don't know, man. There's a great clip from Daily Show.
Yeah.
And he does this whole thing on Occam's razor. He's like, let's step back for a moment and review the facts. And he goes through all of the associations that he has with Epstein. Not just the pictures, but Epstein himself, saying that Trump was his best friend for 10 years.
It is even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
And then he goes through all of the connections, and not even all of them, but for like 3 minutes. I just don't know how he's going to turn this one.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats.
At least the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
I think we talked about it before, is that central to their tactics is this elimination rhetoric. What they do is they accuse a group of people of the most heinous thing that you could possibly accuse them with, which is pedophilia. And if you can get just 10% of the people to believe that someone is capable
so right.
of such a heinous crime or involved with such a heinous crime, then you can get them to believe anything about them.
Yeah.
And, and they used it to great effect. They've convinced an entire segment of that cult into believing that, there is a cabal of elites, largely, Democrats.
Right. So we don't have to go on with this whole thing. I would definitely recommend you guys check this out if you get the free time or if you have the interest in doing so. But he's 100% right. I mean, and we've talked about that. I think I just mentioned on the last show where we talked about how much Donald Trump, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, just for a few, for example, have really led their base into believing that the answers were going to be revealed the second they stepped into office. In the fact that, this whole thing was a Democrat Hollywood cabal and that it was all going to be revealed once we had the power. And now that they got Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Donald Trump as president, J.D. Vance as VP, Kristi Noem, the list goes on, right? Tulsi Gabbard. Like, they have their all-star team, and they got the fucking Harlem Globetrotters of fucking corrupt, ignorant assholes in power right now. And they've been lied to and propagandized. It's crazy.